It's going to be a good show. Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show will have a talk about Linux projects such as a distribution. It could be a desktop environment application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community. I think it's Linux. Anything that's Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate. I like me some Linux. And with me today, I got a fantastic group of people. I've got Jinda, Colin, Jason, Eris, Ben, Sravan, Dale of Low Tech Linux fame, and Matthew Moore. How is everybody?
Excellent.
Good.
Sweet. And I see that Aries put the little party popper. I think those are some of my favorites. The party popper. That's my favorite emoji. I hope it doesn't become like the new thumbs up, because like that's passive aggressive, I guess, to some people.
That's
Party popper emoji that says I'm really excited and I mean it. Right? Doesn't it?
next thing you know, it could become kicking hardcore in the rear.
I'm not even sure what to go with that.
I don't think any of us are. It's just how I'm doing.
I gotcha. Well, be sure to do the straw poll if you have not done so already. It's about Xorg or Wayland. What do you use most of the time?
Oh no!
So go ahead and knock that out if you have not done so yet. So on the docket for today, it's an open mic night.
Hence comes the controversy.
Is that a controversy? I don't think so. On the docket for tonight, we're going to talk about that straw poll. And then do an open mic night, and then we're going to do a community free pour with Ben. He's got some other crazy project.
Another crazy basis to talk about.
Crazy project. So if you intermix it, then we'll just kind of let it go.
And this one's real freaking special, Nate, because there's a lot of extra stuff that you guys are gonna love in this one. And
Excellent.
And here's why it's special. It's Gentoo.
And that makes it special. So I want to apologize for last week. The sound just stopped. I don't know why. Nothing has changed between last week
and it was right at my segment too.
Maybe you upset the YouTube gods and they shut us off. I don't know. Maybe we're talking too bad about Firefox and something. I'm not using Firefox for the stream.
I don't know. It was just very RNG at that point.
It was very 1984, I guess, maybe. All right. Anyway, so I'd like to kick this off of what I've been doing in Linux and tech. And just as we're getting going, Dale started talking about how he's been doing Linux for longer than some of you have been alive, if that's possible. and you did something new, something you've not done before. Was that you did a cron job and some scripts?
Yeah, I did. My daughter got a new inkjet printer, and because her old one dried out and wouldn't run, she said, "Is there a way to make it print a page like once a week?" So I said, "Yeah, sure. I can set up a cron job on my Linux machine that I never turn off." She said, "Okay, great, go ahead." So then I had to learn how to do it because I'd never done it before. And Google searches and a whole lot of reading, a whole lot of trial and error. I finally got through it and did my first script to print and my first cron job to call that script and make it print.
Sweet. Do you have it print something funny?
Maybe. That would be, that's a good idea. I should do that.
Just have it print something not like just something kind of like, silly. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. I was just having it print a print test page.
Okay.
But yeah, I could certainly create something for it to print.
Take that cron job in your script and step it up one more level of nonsense. Who would not enjoy a little bit of nonsense?
And it's funny too because I have it set to print when I'm gone to work on Monday mornings. So she would come into her office and she would see whatever I print.
Yeah, you could do like a joke of the day or something like that.
Dad
that
jokes.
might be fun.
Yeah, I like
Dad
that.
joke of the day. Yeah.
Oh, I got plenty of those.
Yeah. I don't know if you might be able to like use one of them fancy AIs out there to see if you can have it find a source where you can pull down dad jokes. Although you got to make sure it's rated correctly.
Clean.
You don't want to clean dad jokes. Nothing too controversial, Or I don't know, whatever you want to do. That's up to you. But anyway, well, that's really cool. So how long did this take you to do from the time you started researching it, from the time your daughter said, "Hey, here's my problem," and you said, "Oh, I can do this." How long did it take from that point to having a working something?
I'm going to say maybe about 2 hours.
Okay.
I don't use Vim, and Crontab uses Vim, so it took me a few minutes to figure out how to edit and to exit Vim,
Mm.
but I figured it out.
Colon WQ to write and quit,
Yeah,
or Q
yeah.
exclamation point. I'm just quitting. Yep.
But
Yeah.
a lot of the research that I did, I found I could only find bits and pieces, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I had to put it all together for myself because apparently nobody wants to tell you how to do it in detail, step by step. So I had to kind of piece a whole lot of information together to figure out how to do it, and that was a lot of the trial and error. I
Gotcha.
created an article on my website. I'm not trying to do a shameless pun, shameless plug, but I did just get finished with an article on my website on how to do that step by step, very detailed.
Yeah.
I was about to say that'd be a good job for you to do, but apparently you did it.
Yep,
So
it is done.
you got some comments here in the YouTube chat. So the Fours said you might be able to curl a joke from a joke website. So that might be something to look into.
Hmm.
And then Olaf said, big fan of NeoVim. So I'd like to know what is the difference between NeoVim and Vim besides the Neo part? Is it like a matrixy thing, like Neo?
No, NeoVim has some same defaults. For example, if you use the page down button, like it actually is page down. Maybe I'm confusing with VI. Maybe Vim also does that, but
I think
NeoVim is like fork of Vim, in which it's more open sourcey. Like their actual community who is working to maintain instead of a single person.
okay.
And also apparently the extensions are more easier for other people to write. Like it's more about, it's a fork basically. They
Okay.
thought a single person shouldn't maintain a project, and they had some code decisions. I don't know what they are. Again, C++ is beyond me. But yeah, I use NeoVim too instead of Vim, and the package management is better maybe. Like it's more modern. Like the applications and stuff which are written only for NeoVim are more modern, but it's fully compatible with Vim things also, for the most part. So any Vim extension you want or whatever Vim package, like all of them work. But also there's separate things in Lua. So all the configuration in NeoVim is in Lua.
Okay.
It's very config files in Lua are very easy. You just like anyone can read them. Like we were talking about config files for the Ghosty last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is even easier. Like Lua is a very easy language for like config files, and even for extensions for NeoVim, most of the config files are in Lua because those extensions are written in Lua.
Is there an extension for NeoVim that would give you line numbers?
Yeah, everything.
That'd be pretty cool.
There are like packages called something called Astro Nvim, which makes NeoVim look like VS Code.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty
I've
cool.
used it a lot. Yeah, I use Astro Nvim, but there are similar projects. Like just look it up. There are a lot of projects which, like, it can make it a full-blown IDE with like advanced features, syntax highlighting, everything.
Really? In NeoVim?
Yeah.
Huh.
Look up Astro Nvim. I'll type it in the chat.
Yeah, type in the chat. Maybe Dale will be our NeoVim guy, along with you, I suppose. But that'd be interesting because what interests me in that is, so I've used, I use Micro because it's easy and it has like everything
Yeah.
I want, and I can use the scroll wheel. But actually, no, I think in Vim I can use scroll wheel also. Actually.
Yeah, you can.
So anyway, Astro. Okay, cool. That's very neat.
Like
And,
one of the reasons I use like Vim or Micro and other things is because I SSH a lot. Like most of my machines are like ARM machines on Linux. I don't have like physical access to all of them.
Mhm.
Like I can, but it's annoying like attaching keyboard to everything.
Right.
So instead, I either use Barrier, or now it's called Input Leap, for sharing mouse and keyboard, or just SSH into them. So, but now I don't have GUI, right? So for editing, like looking, so that's why I use LF as file manager for terminal, and then NeoVim or Astro Nvim for like editing files.
That's pretty cool. Well, now you gave me some homework to do there, Servan. I don't know if I should be thankful or not.
Something. Oh, I was gonna say so something simple that Dale could use if you wanted to print out something like witty, maybe a random quote. You could use Fortune. Just install Fortune, small program, and it does a random quote, a witty saying, or some kind of fortune message.
That's
All
cool.
you do is type Fortune, and that's it.
That's really cool. Is that like that works already?
It's a terminal command. You just install the package.
Oh, okay.
It's called Fortune. Hmm.
Huh. Okay. Well, there you go.
Nope, I just did a zipper search Fortune, and there it is. Fortune summary random saying.
I like it.
That's cool.
Well, sweet. Well, thanks for sharing, Dale. If you happen to make some improvements or some changes or have some fun with that, please come back to share that. I'd maybe there'll be a Dale package someday in the open source repository.
Thank you.
All right, I guess we'll move on to the Strawpoll now. So the Strawpoll that was put together by our lovable heiress was, are you using Xorg or Wayland most of the time?
So
Gesundheit.
I did get some responses for this, so I'll go over that first and let everybody else vote one last time. Somebody said other, literally 50-50. One machine is Wayland and one is X11. And somebody else said, these days it's actually Wayland. Things aren't perfect, but those are probably application issues. And then somebody said, I voted other because for about a year I was running nothing but Wayland, but when I switched back to Linux Mint, I had to go back to Xorg. If Cinnamon had been fully migrated to Wayland, then I would have voted Wayland. And then somebody said, I voted X11 because Cinnamon on Wayland isn't ready yet. The only other machines I have running have XFCE or PopOS with GNOME, which is X11. My bad side systems are Wayland, I suppose. One is even Nvidia. And then somebody said, Wayland, of course. I'm a big GNOME fanboy. But if it wasn't around, I'm sure I could make Kitty work after some suffering. And as far as the results, number one answer is a tie between Xorg and Wayland with 44% each, followed by
Wow.
Tux Penguin with 7% and other with 5%.
I wonder is there something other than Xorg or Wayland? I think that's it. That's your only.
No, there's that thing that OpenBSD uses. Forgot what it's called. It's like a fork of Xorg.
Okay.
It's called XenoDM.
I mean that sounds cool. I don't.
Yeah,
It may be terrible, but it
they're,
sounds cool at least.
it's based on Xorg, but it's just the way they log into X essentially on their ISOs and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. So I guess here, who's running Xorg like regularly? So
I am because I'm still on XFC's
Yeah,
X11 session.
XFCE.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm on
It'll be the
Cinnamon.
last to switch.
So,
Right.
Okay.
so Cinnamon on Arch is probably not fully developed yet, so I'll just stick with Xorg for now. If I'm on GNOME, I'll use Wayland because it seems to work very well in GNOME anyway. Wayland does.
Oh, for sure. Jason, are you you probably used everything, so I imagine that's kind of a you're an other.
Yeah,
You're an other.
I primarily use Xorg, but I do have one. I had one plasma machine, but it was the what you call it there, the Cosmic, Pop OS Cosmic's what I was running
Okay.
at one point, but it was like I had a brain fart on the Linux distro there, but it for whatever reason, because I guess maybe because it was still an alpha or beta or whatever it was in at the time when I was using it, it just stopped working. So I wiped it out and I put Ubuntu on the machine.
Yeah. And then what are you running with then? So GNOME, running the regular Ubuntu with GNOME.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm running. Then I do have Fedora on my Mac, one of my Macs, but I don't really use that one too often. It's mostly the Mint, and this is my primary Linux box, which is running MX.
Okay. Gotcha.
What?
Well,
Oh,
neat.
what?
So, anybody here running Wayland on something other than GNOME?
Actually, I think my Raspberry Pi was running Wayland.
Yeah, I think it is. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I use
usually
Wayland
run it on Plasma. I use it.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Tumbleweed, KDE Plasma, Wayland for about a year now. AMD graphics works really good for me.
Okay. Is it Eris? Did you say you were running
Wayland on WSL.
I use Plasma,
with Wayland or
Fedora.
X?
Excuse me.
Wayland.
Okay. And do you have any issues with Plasma and Wayland?
Not really. I do have an extra system, and that uses Ubuntu, so that's still an Xorg. But I mean, I rarely use that machine.
There is one issue with Wayland in general with Plasma and GTK. So the file pickers, like if you go to like Thunderbird Mail Client or GIMP or something, a GTK application, and then you go to open a file with the file picker. If you're running Wayland, if it's a GTK file picker, it defaults to client-side decorations, and that can be a little annoying. But if you're using X, it doesn't default to client-side decorations, but it only applies to the file picker. So it's kind of weird.
It's weird. I wonder if it's a setting somewhere that's just because I thought with Wayland along with the Pipewire and the whole XDG portal thing that if programmed correctly, the application should open up whatever the native file manager is. I haven't seen that, but that's what I was told by, I think, like Neil Gompa. I think he said that.
It's supposed to do that, but it's not really programmed that way. You can get around it with Thunderbird and Firefox by going into the About config, and I think it's widget.use, and there's 4 or 5 items in there. And the portal is set to 2. And if you change it to portal 1, it'll open the Plasma file picker. But that only works in those 2 applications. There is an environment variable that you can set, but I haven't had much success with it.
Okay. So I've been running Wayland for close to 2 years for everything, primarily on my laptop, and then I think about a year ago on this machine here that I'm using. I wonder if Wayland failed me or Pipewire or something. That's why I lost the audio. I don't know. It was bouncing in the
Or
and-
maybe it was just good old fashioned YouTube.
maybe it's good old fashioned YouTube. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose these things. But
I'd be quicker
Anyway.
to blame it on YouTube.
I'm not a rocket appliancerist.
I don't know rocket appliances. Yeah. So anyway, and I've been very happy with it. I think the only issue that I have that I can say that does become an issue is because the security method of how things are kind of blocked or whatever. Or I'm not exactly sure what it is, but if I Control-C something on one window and I move too fast to another, and I click like to where to paste it, it'll sometimes throw a C in there. And I don't know exactly why, if like something is carrying over because I held Control-C as I left and dragged off, like as I moved the mouse off the window. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it happens periodically and it's kind of annoying. And that's the only real issue I can think of right now that I have. I did have issues with, this is like a year plus ago, year and a half-ish ago, like trying to do video conferencing like with Teams would crash the browser, but that seems to be fine, I guess, now. But no, I've been pretty happy with it. I can't say, I mean, Zoom was a problem for a while, but now that seems to be all ironed out. I don't have any problems with Zoom. I actually can't really think of what might be the problem. So there was on my son's computer, his desktop, his the computer we built, he has an Nvidia card, and he can only get 30 FPS with Wayland, but he gets 60 with X on his 4K screen. So, don't know why that is. If it's an Nvidia issue, I get 60 hertz on my screens, no problem. But that's where they max out at, so I don't have anything too cool. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think it's A-okay. Maybe it's an Nvidia issue. Anybody have that experience, like where you get better FPS on one versus the other, or better refresh rate, or is that a me problem?
I get better FPS on Wayland than on X.
I haven't really noticed, but I don't really game on anything but the AMD system here, so.
Yeah, but I should say it was hertz. It would, like the screen can only be set to like 30 hertz on the with Wayland on Plasma.
Yeah. I have Nvidia on all my laptops. My only AMD system is AMD graphics wise is my desktop. And sadly, I get horrible frame rates on my AMD desktop, so I just stick to my laptops where I have to use X. So
Well, you don't have to really stick to X with Nvidia anymore. At least with Plasma, anyway. They've kind of tweaked it to work quite well, actually.
yeah, I've just had a very difficult time setting up Plasma, at least Matt, as you know. So
Well, it's because you're trying to do it manually on your own. You're trying to
I don't know
handcraft
how
it.
to set up that sort of thing.
So some chats here in the YouTube. CCJ says, I get annoyed by GTK's file manager. Dolphin is way better. I agree. I think that is the most factual statement you'll hear tonight. Chris, probably in comment to something from last week, maybe that I said. OpenSUS did that. I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to say by that.
I think the audio issues.
I'm sure it's a slight, and I accept it, good sir. Ben Sekrum says Wayland is getting there, but for now, if you handed me a random laptop or desktop and told me I had one shot to pick one distro, it would be Mint with Xorg. So that makes sense. And Chris is also shocked, Ben, that you didn't say Arch.
I'm guessing he's talking about the bin and chat.
That could be. Philip Collier said, "What? Usually pipewire plus wire plumber is pretty painless." I've never had to deal with it really. So anyway, interesting stuff. Well, good deal. Well, that was fun. I wonder if we'll be talking about Xorg next year. What do you think? Next year, January, February timeframe, do you think Xorg will still be a conversation, or do you think it's going to be we're bored with that? We're probably bored with that.
It's never
already.
going away. It's
never
never
going
going away. Yeah, that's it. There's no need to talk about it. It's never going away.
Okay. Well, there's at least going to be X Wayland that's going to exist, if nothing else, to capture X stuff. And on that, this is just an aside, not a huge deal, but do you remember, was it last week or the week before, we were talking about how I had some flat pack games that just wouldn't work, like I couldn't have keyboard input, and someone said, well, have you tried running it in X? I did, and then keyboard input worked on the flat pack game. I was trying to play GZ Doom. And so what I discovered was there was I had to uncheck the Wayland windowing system portal for the game, and then everything works fine in Wayland. So it must be an X Wayland thing or something like that. I don't know what's going on exactly. But anyway, I couldn't find any solutions on the internet. So thanks to you, the Linux Saloon folk, I was able to, I ran down the X11 bunny trail, and that seemed to have corrected it. And then I tweaked the permissions to disallow Wayland windowing system. So for whatever reason, on some games in Flatpak, or maybe some applications of Flatpak, I should say, Flatpak applications, the arrow keys will work. I think Enter and Spacebar work, but none of the other keys. I don't know why. So I didn't. There's a Cubicle Nate article on that. If you want to check that out, be my guest. If not, that's all right too. All right. Well, it is an open mic night, so it means pretty much, whatever you want to talk about, within reason. as long as it's Linuxy and not too controversial. We can talk about that. So I have
let's get in
my
a conversation about cats. Let's go.
so cats are probably I think cats are are closed source technology though, aren't they? Is that closed source technology?
They do operate on their own systems.
They sure do, and they're not very open about it. So I had an issue where I filled up the storage on my main laptop, and I was shocked by this because it's 2 terabytes. I should never fill it up, right? Well, I did, and so I was thinking this might be kind of a fun topic. I've since then cleared it out, but what do you do when you fill up the storage on your computer? What is your course of action when, like, all of a sudden you're out of space and you got to do something? What's step one for you besides, like, being gobsmacked, I guess?
Well, the first thing I do is that's one of the reasons why I set up the my file server, which is behind the cat.
Okay.
Is because back when that was my main system, the file server used to be my main computer. It had a 1 terabyte drive in it, and that was it. And when it started getting filled up with games and whatnot and what else, I swapped over to my current system, which has 2 drives, 2 NVMe drives in it. One's a 1 terabyte, one's a 2 terabyte, if I remember correctly. And then I moved all the files, like the video files, the pictures, the anything, important documents and stuff, all went to the file server. All the games went onto the 2 terabyte drive, and then the 1 terabyte drive is solely for pretty much for the OS and system files and things of that nature. So that's how when my drive got filled, I basically just gave myself more space, cleaned it all up, and then spread it out differently. So no longer have, like I said, games are separate. Movies, I have a separate drive for movies and things like that. So that's what I did.
So when you have all these, games and so forth, all this digital. See ya, Colin. Thanks for stopping by. I understand you got things. Appreciate you even showing your face. So have a ball. So when you move that stuff over, so is it another drive on the system you're using, or like a network share that you used, or do you what do you do now?
It's the gaming drive is a second NVMe drive on the system. It's just a larger drive. So like I said, the 1 terabyte is for the OS, and then the 2 terabyte NVMe is for games, and then all my movies, pictures, and all that stuff are accessible off the file server.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things I like having access to my data, so I'm kind of weird about that. Just because of the way I do things, so I have to rethink a lot of things currently, or I have sort of. But Jinder, what do you do, or has this not ever been an issue for you because you're responsible sysadmin for your own personal systems, and this would never happen to Jinder?
It hasn't happened to Jinda, so
So you're responsible, and I'm not. I get it. Okay.
I didn't say that. I just said it hasn't happened to him.
Not yet.
Not yet.
When my drive fills up, I go grovel to the wife and hope she buys me a bigger hard drive.
Okay. I mean, that's another thing. Could just like get a new computer and just leave everything on the old one and whatever. That's so. Jason, kind of, I guess, is that what you're saying? You do also?
Well, see, that's what like I said, I was using the file server originally was my main system, and then I upgraded that up from a X99 system to a i7 10700. And then my brother built a series of computers, and he just had them sitting out in the hallway upstairs. So I snagged one. Which happens to be this one right here. And this one is it's i9 9900KF or some numbering system. And it was a great system. It was that processor with the 32 gigs of RAM and all that good stuff, and it had a 1 terabyte and a 2 terabyte NVMe drive already in it. So I set that up as my main system, and then I only put on certain games and stuff like that. I took all the original drives that were in that other system, my old system, the 10700, and just left them in there and added because this is a full tower case that can have like 8 spinny drives in it. So I just threw in I think it's 3 4 terabyte drives and 1 8 terabyte drive and then 1 8 terabyte external. So I have all my stuff on the drives in the that system. Important documents. One's important documents. One's movies. One's like music and things like that. So I got it split up, and then I have it all backed up onto the 8 terabyte external drive, and then I have it backed up in a cloud somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I really could use a NAS because I'm actually in the middle of a file copy now. I started it 7 hours ago, and I got an hour and 45 minutes left. A total of 61,915 files. So, I could definitely use a NAS. I have these. I just have a handful of these things. This is 1 terabyte. I think that one's a 3 over there.
are these USB-C or are these USB?
USB 3.0. They're a little older.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like my external drive that I use it's in the closet stored somewhere. When I decide to back up everything, it's a 4 terabyte USB-C drive. So it goes a little bit faster.
Yeah, I would love to have a NAS and then map the file location in the file manager to the NAS instead of having them locally. And that would be great because I go between Linux and Windows, and it would just be really cool to just network the like in Windows you could just right click and change the location of the drive, and you just change it to the network drive. On Linux you could probably do the same thing. I don't know, I never tried it, but
yeah, nor have I.
But yeah, I mean, I think doing something like that would serve me quite well. But those NAS boxes are actually getting kind of expensive.
Well, yeah. Then you got to fill them with drives.
Yeah.
I mean, the drives that I have in the system, the Windows system, is basically you build your own NAS. With the they're all NAS drives. So they're all the storage drives. They're all NAS drives. They are 2 of the 4 terabytes in RAID 0, and then the other ones are just backups and whatever.
I probably could use. My mom's old HP died. It was the old DC 7800, big old huge thing.
Yeah.
But something on the motherboard's cooked. But that would be a good case for just stack a bunch of drives in it with like a little ITX motherboard and just hook it to the network. It wouldn't be a bad
just
use.
I mean, depending on how much speed you need, you can either leave it as the one, the regular NIC drive, NIC card rather, with a 1 gig, or if you needed to, you could always, upgrade to get your stuffs upgraded to 10 gigabit if you need to move lots of data. We're I think most of our systems are actually, our networking itself is still 1 gig, but I think a lot of the motherboards come pre set up with the 2.5s built in.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
pretty awesome.
I think the closest thing I have to an actual NAS right now is the Raspberry Pi sitting over there.
Oh, Raspberry Pi. I mean, I did that with when I had my Raspberry Pi before I gave it to somebody because I wasn't using it. I had it set up with 2 or 3 just regular SSDs.
Yeah, I mean it works. It's a little hacky, but
so I got it booting off an SSD instead of the SSD card, the SD mini SD cards or whatever they're called, not SSD but SDs. I had it booting off the OS right off the SSD, and then I had it configured with 2 other SSDs. So just for a project I was tinkering with, no real reason, just to see if I could get it to work.
I did something similar with one of these external drives, just to see if it worked. And then I had I put Pi-hole on it and did that whole thing, and just just messing around.
Sharon, what is it you wanna? You have your hand so politely raised. I'd like to know what you do.
I have a suggestion when moving large number of files. Like I was syncing files between 2 computers using sync thing, but it was slowing down because there were a large number of JSON files which are very small. So what I discovered, like instead of syncing large number of files, just compress them into a single file. Compressing will take time, but and then transferring them is like much faster. It takes much less time. So if you have a large number of files, just convert that to a zip file or I use 7Z, and then it's convenient that way. Maybe it works for you, maybe not, but it worked for me.
I don't know if any of you used local send, but that actually runs pretty quickly too. I have it's a cross-platform. I have it on my Android phone, and it runs on all my computers down in the little system tray. So, like if I take a picture or something with the phone, I could just hit the share button. It'll just shoot it right over to whatever other machine, and you can share files between machines. It's actually quite nice. It's for a network. It's not really made to do like your whole library files, but if you just want to share, like the computer I got on the TV, if I download a movie here, I could just drop it in the local send and it'll pop up over there. That
Yep.
that stuff like that. It's really good for that.
Yeah, you set up a good
It's
old
nice that
fashioned.
you can have it set to auto accept
Mhm.
too. So if you
Yeah.
trust it on your own network, yeah, local send's awesome. I've been using that for a long time.
It's a lot faster than something like KE Connect or it's
Or a
it's
file
just
manager, yeah. Like even just if you're like, I will use it sometimes if I have like a multi-gig file rather than a map drive or like a network protocol, because local send just seems to do a better job of keeping the high rate of speed.
Mhm.
yeah.
So,
And
I've had
if you want to send a large file over the internet, it's there's a service called Just Beam It, and
and Wormhole.
it'll establish a peer-to-peer link from your computer to the person's computer you're sending it to. It won't go up to a server first. It'll just be direct from you to them. And what you do is it's just a web page, and you select the file, and it creates a temporary link, and then you send the link to the recipient. And then once he connects, it automatically is a direct connection between your two computers. And once the download is finished, the temporary link self-terminates and deletes itself. So it's actually a nice little way to send really large files over the internet, because cloud services and email services have size limits these days. And with something like Just Beam It, like me and Ben have used that before to send large files back and forth. It works pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah, we used that back when he and I used to do distros together and stuff.
So, Eric, I'm interested in knowing. Maybe this is not a problem for you. Like Jinda, he's a responsible personal sysadmin, so this is not an issue for him. But what do you do when you fill up a drive? Or do you never do that?
No, it happens occasionally. So what I try to do is, like if I have an M.2 or something where that's the boot drive, I will, like today, for example, I installed LM. It's a AI large language model thing, LM Studio. So I wanted to change where I try to be proactive, and being proactive means if I know a program like LM Studio is going to download multi-gigabyte files, the LLM, model files, I'll, if I can, change the directory where it's going to put those, and I have a data drive where I keep all that stuff. And that's I try to do that proactively. If not, then like Vertman, yes, a Vert manager had been putting all of the virtual machine files on the root drive, and so I ran out of space. I don't know, maybe last month, and realized it, and then had to figure out, okay, now I have to move everything and remap, and so it tends to just be that I do my best to be proactive about it, and then if it happens, then I just I find a way to. I use a disk scan, like Baobab is the GNOME one. It's called file something. What is it? Let me see if I can find it. But basically, no. Huh. I'm having trouble with my system finding applications right now. I don't know what it's doing. But anyway, it's basically there's a KDE equivalent. I'm trying to think of what it's called, but it basically will let you see where the disk space is being taken up, and then it's like a graphical representation of the disk, and you can see all the folders. The GNOME one is a pie chart, and so you could just see like where the most of the space is being taken up, and then kind of go after those ones. I can't find it for some reason.
If I
It's
remember
like
correctly,
Firelight
I
or something
think
like that.
yeah,
Yeah, Firelight is the KDE one. Yeah.
if I remember correctly, I think the KDE one can also find duplicate files and clear them out, unless I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, it's called Disk Space Analyzer on GNOME, and it's actually, if you go back and look, it was called BAOBAB, Baobab. I don't know what that
Okay.
means, but
I've heard of that one.
anyway, but that's the nice part is that it you select which drive or even partition or even a folder that you want to scan, and then it will just return a nice graphical representation of the space and what's taking up what. And then that lets you pretty easily just visualize and be able to decide, what needs to move.
So-
sometimes it can get really frustrating, and then I've done it before where I'll just buy a bigger disk and upgrade the disk because I'm sick of constantly being out of space. It's like using an older cell phone, and all of the apps now expect. If you look at the size of some apps, it's pretty shocking actually.
Yep.
Like how big
Yeah,
they can be.
they're not small anymore. It's not the little.
No, and if you have like a 64 gig, phone with like 64 gigs of storage, like you can run out pretty quickly.
Yep. So CCJ in chat says QDirstat. He's recommending that one too. I'm not sure what that one does. So if somebody can tell me in the chat or whatever.
Yeah, so QDirstat, and then there's a Windows one called WinDirstat, which is kind of the same thing.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
it
I've
lets
used
you use-
WinDirstat. I like it because it sounds funny. WinDirstat. And then the Forest says KD Partition Manager. So that's just a manager for partition. It's a gparted similar thing. So
Yeah. So.
Oh,
but
and then
that's basically it. Yep.
NCDU, Sleepy Eyed Vince says he is his go-to from you, Eric.
What was it?
DUA. Try DUA.
NCDU or DUA.
Oh
Is that
yes,
another one?
I have used NCDU. It's also nice. It's a command line version, but it is nice. It gives you basically the same concept where it's not graphical, obviously. I mean, it's an approximation of a graphical view, but basically it's just sorting it. So if I look at my local disk, 27 gigs of it is in the local folder, and I know if I go in there, it's probably going to be all of the Flatpak stuff, and yeah, it is.
Yep.
So then if you go into repo, then objects, so you just kind of keep drilling down to see what's taking up the most space. And,
So my favorite tool for that is the file view, or what is it called? So if you run Conqueror on a Plasma desktop, there's in the view mode there's a file size view, and it creates them in blocks, and so you can actually see very clearly what blocks are taking up what, and it shows you this anyway. So that's also I drilled down in that as well, and I can see right now that my largest single section in my home directory is where I keep my virtual machines, and then it's pictures. So I found a few. I was doing some purging, some cleaning out, and like organizing, and I found a bunch of old CDs that had pictures from 20 years ago, and I thought, these burnable CDs are not going to last much longer, but they didn't have any read errors so far as I know. Anyway, so I found all these pictures, and I've been like rebuilding my all these years worth of photos and whatnot, and so now my pictures takes up 262.9 gig of storage. There's videos in there too, so that's quite a lot of pictures I'll probably never look at again. So
Well, you said, 2 terabytes of space, but if you're doing things like using virtual machines, they can take up, one
Yes.
virtual machine can be, 20, 30
16.
gigabytes of space. So,
Yep.
plus if you've got presumably you're doing virtual machines with an ISO file. So there's another 2 or 3 or 4 gigs of space. And so, yeah, it can really add up pretty quickly. And that's why
Yep.
generally in the past I've upgraded a disk, is because I've got too many virtual machines.
Hmm.
And that's why I upgraded all my virtual machines to actual hardware.
Oh,
Mm.
see, there we go.
I was
those
looking
are
at the.
Those are hard to take
I
with
was-
you on a plane, though. Just saying.
Well, yeah. I was looking at my pictures because you said you had 200 something gigs of pictures and videos. Yeah, my pictures alone are 60 gigs. That's all pictures, no videos. I
I
have
was under the impression I had a lot of pictures, but you guys got me beat.
I have 11 cats, so I'm constantly taking pictures of the dumb things they do. And then I have at one point in time we were taking care of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 strays. So 21 cats at one time we were feeding. So, and then that's where that little
Can't have enough
right
cat
there came
pictures.
from. Yep, that cat right there was the last one to come in. He was one of the last of the feral cats before we got him removed from the neighborhood because the older people in the neighborhood. I basically live in it's like a big 30-foot units of townhouses, and I call it the old fogey community because everybody's like should be in homes by now, so to speak, and they're complaining about cats pooping in their driveway.
So
Well, if they're old fogies, you could just try to convince them they did it.
We gave up, myself and another neighbor. We worked together with a no-kill shelter and had them all removed except for Lucky, he's been here 14 years now. He's on his, we swear he's on his last life, but we've been saying that for years. And then Mama Kitty, who's the mother of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cats in the neighborhood that different people brought in. I have 3 of her kids, and she's been here about 7 years.
Yeah, cats are pretty resilient.
Oh yeah.
I remember my dad backed over my mom's cat with the car once,
Oops.
and it hollered and ran
boy.
off into the woods, and we didn't see it for like a week and a half, but we figured it was dead. But then it came out of the woods and it was fine. It's like, oh,
Yep.
wow.
I have 4 cats that are gonna be 11 this year. They're getting up there.
it's crazy.
But anyway, before we get into go down the whole rabbit hole of animals, let's get back onto the tech thing.
Yeah. So I was curious to know what Prophetic does about his, if he's a good sysadmin, or what do you do when you fill up your drives?
Get new drives.
Get new drives.
That's pretty much what I do. I wouldn't say I'm a tech hoarder. It's just or a picture or video hoarder. It's just
Excuse me.
I just don't have the time to sift through which pictures do I want to purge. The hardware is cheap these days, and I have enough. I even have some spare drives. These guys just like just hanging around, but I can just pop on somewhere and back up something too. And so yeah, that's what I do.
Well, you could always do what I did and accidentally delete all of them and then curse and scream and then realize that actually this is probably a good thing. I get a fresh start, and then you just and then you just
all within 24 hours. Just the emotional roller coaster of that.
I've been through the fresh start thing, but that was not a intentional thing. We had a house fire in 2014.
You had a hot start,
and we didn't we didn't back up externally. We did have backups, external drives, but not externally as far as like outside the house, like cloud storage or whatever. So when we had the house fire and the computer melted, and everything was gone, that's when we decided, okay, we need to reevaluate, how we do the storage. So I have my server. My brother has his server. We have the Plex server. So we have all that stuff. Then I have external backups than I have cloud backups. The only thing I back up in the cloud, I don't care about music and stuff. It's mostly like just important documents, tax documents, titles and whatever else, and then the cat pics primarily, because I don't care. Occasionally, I take pictures of beers and stuff and send to people and stuff like that, but not as important as cat photos or photos of my nephew, for example. Stuff like that. But I do, when I do get closer to what I did last time I got close to filling up my space, I just went out and bought, because like Prophetic was saying, is that things are getting cheap. Hard drives are cheap. So I got the NAS drives. I got the 4 terabyte drives. I got 3 of those in the 8 terabyte drive. The 4 terabyte drives are $80 each. I got them at a good steal off of Amazon. This was a few years ago, so who knows what to go for now. And then I got the 8 terabyte, I think it was $160, $200, something like that. So I have plenty of storage now for pretty much everything. But I do have we have a whole 700 DVDs that we ripped and then upscaled. So they're on on the 8 terabyte drive. They take up 5 terabytes themselves.
700. You got yourself a bootleg operation right there.
Hey, we owned them all now, mind you. We still have them in tubs. We could prove it.
Good.
Although I do have to admit, I'm not gonna say anything. We'll talk a little later. We'll talk about some other things a couple of them we may not have anymore. But anyway, so storage is definitely the one thing I do. I'm going to reiterate the whole backup thing. Sure, when you're getting close, when you're getting close to your store's end, so to speak, yes, you want to upgrade your storage, get more storage. Maybe migrate things to different drives, spread it out. But what I would say is make sure that like I said, I learned from the hard way in a house fire. Make sure you have an off-site backup somewhere. I know Jeff from why am I brain farting on the name of his stream though? He one point in time he set up a Raspberry Pi. This gentleman set up a Raspberry Pi from Craft Computing. Jeff from Craft Computing. He set up a Raspberry Pi, I do believe that it's his parents' house or something like that, with storage attached to it, and he could remote into it. And then he could back up his information. Yes, it took a while to back up because it had to go through the web. But so he could back up any of his important documents. What he did was he obviously backed up it locally, brought it over there, stored it, and then he occasionally added to it remotely if he needed to on important documents and stuff. So that if he did have an oh crap moment, his stuff is safe off site. So I would recommend. If you have something serious, obviously he runs his own business stuff, so he had reason to do that. But I would say with tax documents and stuff like that, at least put them up in the cloud. Anything that's financial, anything that's if something happens and you need proof or whatever, it's there.
It would also be wise to monitor your hard drive's health once in a while too.
Oh yeah,
It's a lot of people just they don't think about it. It's something that people should. I have Samsung Magician running here because I have Samsung SSDs, and
that's all I use.
It's it does well because if something's not the way it should be, it'll let me know about it. So.
Yep, and with the NVMe drives and SC drives, you don't have to worry as much of as the health. But anything like my NAS drives, anything with the movable parts, so to speak, those can fail a lot easier than NVMe drives and.
I find the cords can fail too sometimes. There's one time where I thought my hard drive was bad. It was the cable was bad, and I was so relieved because I was about to do some weird commands on that drive to try to recover it, and thankfully it was just the cable.
That's a good note. Yeah.
True that. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, Vince, he just joined. I'm sure it was to talk about what his top-notch premier data management strategy is.
Vince.
Well, you might live to regret to welcome me in here.
Never.
Never.
Data management, bigger drives, as been said before. Yeah, I've got like well over 200 gigs worth of photos of and videos of kids and whatnot.
Do you guys does this happen to you where like the way you capture them, it also comes off of your mobile? Like, does that give it? Because I have a whole bunch of WhatsApp stuff of my
So I
nephews and-
have taken it. I've been in the habit of backing up my phones manually. So because it's Android, I can just hook it up and I'll copy my WhatsApp stuff across. That's a lot of stuff because our extended family is quite big and we share a lot of stuff. Nephews, nieces, whatnot.
I get everything.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, at least with WhatsApp, you do get low quality images, so that saves on storage a little bit. That's fine.
I've never used a WhatsApp, so I don't have that issue at all.
I still remember the old zip drives, those little tape drives, the cassettes that you'd put into the machine, and it would. Those were fun.
Yeah, the other community that I'm part of, and Nate occasionally hits us up to is the I think Dave might have been in chat earlier. Dave's
he was.
Apple's Tech. It's the vintage Apple group, Max Apple, the SE30s and all that kind of good stuff. And there's this one gentleman, his name is Steve. He has all this stuff still. He has the tape drives. He has the zip drives. He has this drive. He has that drive. And yeah, so when you said that, it just made me think of his basement, where he's got he's got, like you said, he's got those old towers, that turn yellow because of the sun and stuff like that. The old beige towers and stuff. And I'm pretty sure he still has a system that runs. It might be a Mac system more than likely because he's primarily Mac and Apple. And so he's still got a lot of that old stuff. He still plays with it, tests it, and messes around with it. It's hilarious.
I kind of miss that old stuff. We had a zip drive. We had one of those old Packard Bell PCs that had the little key on the front of it that would lock out the keyboard and stuff.
Excuse me.
Those were great. I do kind of miss the physical key to lock out the keyboard. That was I don't know why computers quit doing that. That was great.
It's probably because people kept losing the keys.
That and also it's not really a great security method. That only keeps out like the very lowest of tier.
Yeah, but it's not about security. It's just about the whole nostalgia thing. Like those old computers with that big Kerchunka switch on the side of it. There's just something about throwing that switch and hearing the drive start up. The floppy, and then the floppy drives.
MFM drives are the best.
It's just nostalgic noises. It's just something about it.
Oh yeah,
gotta go to a vintage computer fest for that.
One of my favorite sounds is the old Mac chime. I love that when the Mac starts, it goes dong.
Yeah,
there's a chime. And so when they're doing these in this old Mac community, the vintage group, they do a lot of repairs. Like they took boards and they replaced all the components off the board and replace all the things there and resolder them on, take off the old what am I brain fart? I don't know what they're called now, but and they get them working again. They just they get battery bombed because people can take the old batteries out of the systems and they sit there for years and they leak. The capacitors leak, so they have to replace all that stuff. And they go through and like that guy Steve, he's in my opinion a genius, because he'll take people send him boards that are just nasty, gross looking, and he'll get them all cleaned up and replace all the parts and next thing you know, it's chiming. It's working.
I've got an old gateway tower with the large storage space of 6 gigs. It's huge.
You remember the old 20 meg hard drives that are literally like shoebox size?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
They're double height, 5 1/4.
Yeah.
What about the ones that were really wide?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the ones that are like shoebox size. So
yeah, but they were thin. They were just big this way.
It looked like an old laser disc or something.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I a friend when I went to college in Boston. His father worked for the lottery, so he did a lot of repairs on old systems, and his basement was literally a museum of old hard drives. And I have never seen that many ginormous, take them up heavy, like a brick heavy hard drive, stacked up in a basement before. It was pretty cool.
My favorite nostalgic noise is still got to be a modem dialing up and connecting.
Yep. There was a YouTube video that explained what all those different noises meant, and like it's actually extremely clever. Like the whole thing is extremely clever how it all worked, and I kind of makes me wonder, like, could engineers today develop that same sort of cleverness?
Yeah, probably.
You think?
We used to get free internet because we would collect the you know how AOL used to send like the 60 hours free or whatever.
Yep.
But it was a specific number with a code in it, and there was some hackers had a database of these things, so you could just get the list and just plug into any telephone outlet, dial the number, and use the code, and I got free internet. It was so easy to do.
Yep. I remember getting those, the AOL discs. I remember my brother had what was it? I think it was Netflix. They used to do was it Netflix that used to do the CDs? They used to send you the movies.
Yeah, and Redbox.
Yeah, it was before Redbox, way before it was Redbox. And I think when I remember a couple of times my dad got a couple of things of their AOL because they're red, and threw them away.
Oops.
Oops. Yep, that cost my brother some money. My brother's like, Dad, don't throw away anything that has my name on it. But the problem is my brother's David Starbuck and my dad was David Starbuck. So
so you can't throw away his things.
He was thinking it was junk mail.
And AOL was a lot of fun though. That was a good system.
That was a fun era.
I miss AIM. I love AIM.
Yeah, I used
Me too.
AIM up until like the mid 2000s. I used it for a long time.
What was the other one that they had out there? That wasn't AOL, but it was another chat program.
There's lots of them.
ICQ.
And Yahoo
is always going to be forever burnt in my brain.
The Yahoo Messenger was actually pretty popular too.
I never used the Yahoo one. I used AIM and I used ICQ a lot. And then there was the Telnet. I used to use the Telnet too.
I guess it really depended on which region of the world you're in, because I know here ICQ was huge and AIM to an extent, but in Asia Yahoo was huge. I remember visiting Asia and everyone was on Yahoo.
Yahoo, wow.
I used Yahoo Messenger a lot. I did AOL chat if you go back into the 90s, and then Hotmail Messenger as well.
Yeah.
I still use what's it called? Oh no, I'm thinking of something different. I'm thinking the Facebook one now. Never mind.
And then Pigeon came along to help. Unite them
pull
all.
everything together. Yep, that was a good time.
Wasn't MSN one?
Yep.
Yeah, MSN.
MSN made one.
MSN had a messenger, and it was like it did everything. I think.
No, it was about
and we
Pigeon.
we shouldn't be talking about Pigeon in the past tense because it's still a thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
what?
but it is. But most protocols no longer work with it.
Yeah, it's kind of janky for that stuff.
Does it not have Matrix? I thought they added that.
Yeah, they did. But then look at the bridges, how often they break.
Yeah, but
but
compared to like an actual client like Element or something like that, I mean, it's just not. It's not as good.
Yeah.
Or Beeper, which
I want them to bring back ICQ. That would make me happy.
I'm mostly just using Telegram these days. I mean,
yeah, me too.
I mean, I have Telegram up there, but mostly
Same
when
here.
I'm chatting with my
Telegram
friends,
from me.
when I'm chatting with my friends, it's mostly It's not MSN. I saw that in chat. It's Facebook Messenger because most of my friends have Facebook accounts, and we just like I have that open over here on my Mac, and I've got like 15 chats going right now with different people.
I was using Skype for the longest time, but the main reason was it was consistent across different platforms. The Skype on Linux, Skype on Mac, Skype on Windows, Android.
Yeah.
It was the same app.
International calls.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't change.
Unless you've been
Like it didn't change for platform. It was the exact same interface, exact same app. I like consistency. But then I got tired of all the spam. Like at least twice a week, I'd get some weird group spam chat pop up, and eventually I had enough of it and went to Telegram.
Yeah,
Telegram's fine.
I always have Telegram up as well. Like basically my Mac. I have a Mac over here, Mac Mini. It's basically my chat system. I have right now. I have like Telegram open. I have Messenger for
You can do iCloud chat too, like we're talking to other iPhone users.
Yeah, that's what I have. I have that open. Messages. The
Yeah.
iPhone messages that's open. I have Facebook Messenger open. I have occasionally I'll have like the chats for like this
My
different streams and
my
stuff.
job blocks WhatsApp, so I have to like make sure my janky laptop has like a session of WhatsApp open. Then I have to VNC into that, and then use that.
I've never used WhatsApp. I know that my brother-in-law's niece, her daughter came up to me one time when they're visiting for Christmas. She said, "Can I play around on WhatsApp or one of those things?" I was like, "Go ask your mom. I don't have that on my phone. My phone. Literally, I saw the XS Max. I am like way behind the times as far as models go on the iPhone, and it's because I barely use it. I work from home, and I have my Mac, so I can get all the stuff I need off that. I can make phone calls from my Mac, crying out loud, using
That's
via
the
my
annoying
phone.
thing is that you would think we can use our laptops for everything, but there's always a little work to get there. Like I have a Google Voice number just because I'm too annoyed with the fact that I have to, when I'm working, I gotta drop a note to my wife real quick about something. I don't want to break my hands from off the keyboard and pull this stupid thing out and type with my thumbs. I just
Nowadays,
want
if you
to.
have the Apple ecosystem, you're just talking to your watch.
There's one chat app that there's one chat app that we've totally forgotten about. For a short period of time, Google had a Google
Oh
Chat.
yeah.
It was a Google Chat desktop client. I mean, the interface was absolute trash, but the service worked, and Google Voice tied right into it. It was
Yeah, I remember
What was
that.
that called?
But I think it was just called Google Chat. But
Yeah.
it was on.
Hangouts was awesome.
But
It
it
was
was
really
only
good.
I used Hangouts with my family for
Hangouts.
Yeah.
a decade. Yeah.
Google
Yeah.
Chat's still a thing.
I
Google
miss
Chat
Google.
now is
It
garbage.
it's
I miss
closed.
Google Hangouts. The Google Hangouts as a social media site. I thought it was good, but some users found the interface of the Google Chat desktop.
You mean the
Looks like Big
Google-
Tech Google wants to chime in. The
yeah, Google Plus
conversation.
was pretty dope.
I wasn't talking to you.
No, but I was talking to you. It says.
Well, it was cool because Google Chat had like you can use Google Chat through Pigeon because the protocols were like open, the standard, and then Google closed it off.
Of course,
Yeah.
And then
they make money on it. Of course,
they
closed it off.
re-released it with their stuff, and then it was kind of broken after that. It was so annoying.
You
And
can
then
still
Google
go to
created
chat.google.com.
And then Google created all this fragmentation with Google Meet and Google Duo and Google Hangouts
Yeah.
and Google Chat and this. And then it's like, why?
And then it became
That's
irrelevant
right.
in that sphere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember circles?
Exactly. I mean, nowadays the only ones that are. I mean, Discord is another program that you can use, obviously, to communicate.
Oh yeah,
That's that's an abomination. Discord is an abomination of a user. Of a user interface. It is an abomination, and a scar in humanity.
I have other words that are not
I don't-
appropriate for Linux Saloon.
Well,
In other words, he loves it.
Ve-
Just one minute.
Vest.
There are other
Vesktop
four-letter words.
is
Yes.
a good client for Discord.
What's
At
it
any
called?
given-
Vesktop?
Vesktop.
Oh, I
It's-
gotta try that one out because
it's a new it's a front end replacement for Discord, and you can put all kinds of themes on it, and there's plugins and stuff that can make it do all kinds of funky stuff. But it is a TOS violation, so be careful what you do with it. You could lose your account.
well, never mind.
In other words, don't use it.
Well, actually, you know what? I don't have anything pressing on there, so
Well, just using the client for theming, and that is fine. But it's the plugins that might get you in trouble because they do things with the API.
Oh,
So
okay.
that, but if you just use it as a client with the theming and stuff, I think you're probably fine.
I mean, the only thing I use Discord for really is that group I was telling you about, the Vintage Apple group. They have a few Discords, and I go in there and chat with them at some, throughout the couple days a week or whatever. That's pretty much the only thing I use Discord for.
There's so much drama on Discord, though. It's just a
well, that depends on depends on
wherever you have lots of
what
people.
you're joining. Yeah, it depends on what you're joining. If I'm joining this Vintage Apple group with people I know,
But listen, like if you set a setting to like just mute all the stupid beeps, and I'm gonna curse here, beeping beeps.
Ooh.
Get it? See what I did there?
Yep, I see that.
It's like it should carry around every time I log in on a different laptop. I gotta turn that stupid setting off
and
again.
every time you if you do like new installation on, let's say,
just sync the
Distro,
thing.
No.
Turn it off everywhere.
There's a
luckily it's easy. Click settings, click turn all off.
So it looks like
turn all off.
It looks like Prophetic is not alone in this. So CCJ says Discord is a cesspool.
Yeah, that's a good word.
I've been around a cesspool before,
it's like
a real cesspool.
playing in
That's
a video
pretty
game.
awful.
It's like playing in like World of Warcraft. Or
Sean
whatever.
says,
it's horrid.
Don't hold back, Prophetic. Tell us how you really feel about Discord.
Yeah, no, it's
but he already used some beeps, so I think that says a lot.
The beep and beeps.
So
I'm confused because it doesn't sync, because if you right click on a server and mute it, it should do it for all your machines.
No, I meant like I have like on the settings, I turned it off universally, so all the servers that I'm part of, if a message comes in, it should just shut up. But
I think also if we're focused on Discord as a chat app, I think you're kind of missing the point of Discord, which is mainly for voice and sharing, screen sharing, game sharing, streaming, that sort of stuff. That's primarily what most people would use it for.
But then it started like a big chat thing. It's a huge chat thing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you go into these big chat things, like I say, World of Warcraft, for example, their main chat thing, yes, you're going to have a bunch of idiots talking smack. And
even tech support, though, like Podman, the people who develop Podman are on Discord.
It reminds me of the early AOL chat room days where you could like pick a specific topic and there'd be like 50 different chat rooms dedicated to it. That's kind of what's happening.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Is that not more a function of
I don't
not
join
Discord, but
a lot of those, big bulk public things. The ones I go into are like I said, like the Vintage Apple group that I join. Those type of places are invite only.
Well, God bless you, Jason.
Join. So
unfortunately, the rest of us have to go to other.
You don't have to. You don't have to join those. That's your choice.
Now there is an alternative to Discord that a lot of people aren't familiar with because it's called Revolt.
Going outside.
It's called well, that's a good one too, but it's called Revolt. It looks almost. It looks like a Chinese clone of Discord. It's not Chinese, though. I'm just analogy, but
I mean, it is a copy for sure.
Yeah, it is like a direct copy of Discord, but it's decentralized like Matrix is, so that might make it attractive. So it's basically Discord without the suck, but nobody uses.
It's a different kind of suck. Still got some suck on it though.
Yeah, but that's because nobody really knows about it and nobody uses it. So
it's also because the video chats are terrible, and it's because there's no federation, so each server is completely independent. And you can't find them without knowing what server they're connected to and all that stuff. So it's like Matrix, but with zero federation.
Yeah, but sometimes it's kind of good to not be listed because then you could just have your own little group and nobody else.
That might be a feature. They think.
But
Sleepy, you
can do that on You can do that on Discord. You don't, you can have a private server. Only add certain people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was going to say. Like, is this not necessarily a function of Discord, but the people you hang around?
Yeah, or the fact that you go into public Discords and there are a bunch of idiots, rude people.
Listen, I'm going to share a YouTube video with you, and it's not self-serving, even though I'm the one who did it. But I spend like maybe 15-minute rant. I don't know how long the video is. Just cutting up Discord UX. So it's not just like oh, just the people. No, it's the interface, guys. It's the
All right.
interface. It's
So-
it's throw up.
I'm
Well,
going to
coding.
show. I'm going to share a video with you, and it is completely self-serving. So check out my latest video.
Well, see, when I go into these things, yes, I'm a techie, yes, I'm a nerd, and I look at things, and if it's functional enough for me to use, I don't care. I mean,
So,
honestly,
in
Well, I
fairness,
think the
Jason, everybody
interface-
here is a nerd. I mean, we're on a Linux chat. So
you telling me because I was on a vintage Apple stream before this one, and came here, and now here I'm a nerd.
yes,
You don't even have to watch the video. You just look at the thumbnail and see how terrible the UX is by me pointing out. Yeah,
I mean, the UX for Discord is not the best for sure. Like
it's the worst. I would argue that it's the
I mean,
worst.
Slack is pretty bad.
Slack
Like,
Slack is an abomination of our IRC UX, but there's at least a thread of like logic there.
You know,
I mean,
UX,
not
the
really, because
Discord,
all the stuff that's in Slack is the same that's in Discord. Like Slack,
Almost.
I think Slack is worse because at least
Oh,
there's a like the different servers in Discord has like at least an idea with the icons on the side. And that's not good. It's not a good system. It's awful. But
I sort of
the
installed it.
Slack
I love
system
it.
is like the amount of rooms that I've been put in for a small conversation with 3 people that then goes completely worthless because they don't have a real grouping conversation. So they create like tons of channels that you're in for no reason because they're not used anymore. Like Slack is awful in terms of UX and everything.
I would
But
I would push back because of the left two tier panel and the terrible right panel of the users on the right two. You got and the icons of the circle icons on both ends. Yeah, I will go Michael Tennell. I will go to war on this.
Okay, let's do it.
Discord is worse than Slack. Let's set up a debate. Cubicle Nate could be the judge. The viewership can
I couldn't
decide.
I couldn't be impartial though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no, it's terrible.
Well,
it's not like this show is on my network or anything.
He does a reverse like override and veto of the decision.
He's like,
and he wins.
my
anyways.
rules, my house.
So I think what I like about Discord is it's one place where I can have a lot of different groups that I like to jump in and out of. The problem I have with Discord is I have so many groups that I'm a part of that I can't keep track of anything anymore. And then when I have a notification, I can't even find where the notifications at this point. So
Thank you.
notifications are basically useless.
Thank you.
That's my
Thank
biggest.
you.
That's why I turn them all off.
Well,
I turn off everything except for @mentions, and then I have everything grouped in a folder system, just like you would with any kind of thing. So I have all the Linux stuff in one folder. I have all the gaming stuff in one folder, and et cetera, all the development stuff in one, and all that sort of stuff. And then I have the ones I care about the most separate by themselves on the top. And so, like the Tux Digital channel, the server is by itself at the very top, and then everything else is grouped up, so I see easily where everything is. But you have to. But it is definitely a pain that you have to set that up. But if you set it up that way, it's not bad.
Cat just muted me.
Yeah, it's just like using Gentoo. It's just like you set it up. Once you set it up, though, it's not that bad.
See, like,
I mean,
I
that's
agree
not
with Michael.
remotely fair. That's not remotely
Gentoo.
fair.
Oh boy.
I
Yeah,
understand
agree.
the argument I gave fits perfectly that, but they're very different.
Yes, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
I agree with Michael on the same on the aspect of it's got all your different groups of different things that you follow, and then you can put them in folders and organize it, color code it, so I know which one is which because I assign the color to the folder. Yada 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 yada. I like Discord.
It's also like using Plasma back in the day, where it's like once you get to used to the pain, you kind of like it.
How dare you? First of all, Plasma is glorious, and that is blasphemy. It is also painful sometimes.
Right. Michael's a
But
Plasma. Yeah.
but it is painful sometimes. I'll give you that.
Is.
But
well, I mean, Linux itself is painful sometimes.
Yeah.
No. It's the best.
Well,
so Discord.
I hear growling and hissing.
So Discord has a pros and cons kind of situation. I don't know of anything that I like about Slack. Like, because everything you can do in okay, that's not true. The only thing I like in Slack that you can't do in Discord is scheduled messages. That would be awesome to have.
That's cool. That is cool.
And that's the only thing I was like, okay, this is great because I have a thing, and also they tell you when they're going to see the message. They can say I turned off notifications for this amount of time, like that. I like that. Beyond that, I don't really have a reason why I think Slack is good, but I feel like Discord has a lot of pros and cons, but more pros than they have cons. I think one of the biggest pros is the moderation functionality. Is that you don't get inundated with just unlimited spam that you do in other platforms.
Yeah, and I'm not a mod of anything in Discord, so I have no insight to that. So I can see why you like that
I think
part
one of the
Discord.
I think one of the big advantages on Discord is the bots that you can program for automation.
Too, yeah.
And I have one of the bots on my server automatically moderates invite spam and external embeds and stuff. It just automatically filters them all out, and if the person does it 3 times, it automatically boots them from the server. So
Nice.
it's I mean, you can do a lot with these bots. I have another bot that plays music. You go to the voice chat room and you just push /play and the name of a song, and it'll just start playing it through the voice chat.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's the bots are cool too, and I think there's other that you can get bots in lots of platforms. So
like Twitch.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, in the sense of like Slack has bots, and okay, that's about it. Matrix is terrible, but
awful.
yeah, I can't stand Matrix. It's
Element is probably, you were talking bad UX. Element's got to be up there pretty high.
I think Element makes Discord look like it was created with gold.
Come on, bro. Discord is the bottom of the bottom.
Discord is useful.
What are you talking about, Matrix? Are you saying
Element is better than Discord?
Okay.
UX. But notice
I will fight you on that one. This war has started.
Notice that Element is not trying to do as much as Discord is doing. So by sheer limitation of the scope, it doesn't make as many.
Where is it limited versus Discord? Like, what is it not?
In terms of it trying to be a video chat.
It has video chat,
but not like for streaming and stuff.
I mean, that's because it's not good at it, so it can't have.
Well,
that,
because it doesn't. It's not, but still, nonetheless, it's not
So
made
in other
for
words,
that.
Discord's good. Gotcha.
This Discord has more opportunities to suck. That's why it sucks. But if Element tried to do video streaming and all these other things, then yeah, maybe then we can have a comparison. But like,
no, the real comparison is that
the settings are like somewhat contained and like centralized.
Well, okay, so Slack is not trying to do that either. So you can't compare Slack and Discord then either, because
of course
Slack
I wasn't. You're the one that brought up Slack.
I was saying that. Okay, to be fair, I think that Matrix / Element is worse than Slack by a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the rose-tinted glasses of Element and Matrix is what make people think that it's good. It's the fact that people can have a room. Like, I think this happened with either KDE or Fedora recently or something.
Because it's federated, it's more forgiving. That people are more forgiving of it.
Yeah, they're more forgiving, and because it's decentralized and federated, and it's open and all that stuff. They have rose-tinted glasses to ignore what is awful. Like, as a person who used to maintain a server, I had my own server. We had a bunch of people in the rooms and all this stuff, and this is an actual thing that happened. Matrix removed me as an admin. I made the room. Keep in mind, they removed me as admin. They removed everyone except for one person their account was still in a different server. They had a matrix.org account. They didn't get removed, but everyone else did. And I was paying for my server. I wasn't like hosting it myself. I was paying them.
Wow.
I was paying Element to run my server, and they never updated it. their job is to manage the system, and I'm paying them to do it. And then they tell me, oh, no. The server is different from the room. The server has a version number and the room has a version number, and you have to upgrade the room. They don't tell you this, but the room has its own version system, and you cannot upgrade rooms. It is literally impossible.
Yeah,
The
that's
only way
terrible.
to upgrade the rooms is to lock the existing room, make a whole new room, migrate all the people from the first room to the new room, and what percentage do you think that gets moved over properly? Not all of it. It was about, I think, 20 to 30% of the people actually moved over. It's a garbage system.
That is terribly garbage. I that is back end stuff. I like to reserve my argument to the scope of the UX. But yes, I agree that all that is terrible for sure.
I reserve my argument for the fact that it's a terrible platform.
Everything.
I reserve my whole argument as let's move on.
Yes.
I mean, that's fair.
Me and Michael tend to get in these fiery, fun debates. But yeah,
I mean,
Well, I understand that, but
really
you got
matrix.
people saying that we're measuring, not only
orange and apples.
No. I'm just saying, like, I got burned so badly, like, because they literally kicked me out. They deleted my account and kicked me out of my own room.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it wasn't your room. You made it, but it wasn't yours.
It was on my server. I paid for that server.
Yeah, but who runs the server?
Me, I paid for it. It's technically mine. I'm supposed to be running it. They're in terms of them managing it is different. If they were doing it for free, how would I complain? But I'm paying for it, and I'm paying them per seat, per account, per month.
No, don't even bring that up.
Like, that's crazy.
All right, so what else we got to talk about tonight?
And so this is why Telegram is the best. All right, so moving on.
Yes.
Graphics cards. Right now running.
AMD.
I'm curious to know what is typically the popular thing right now, and like Nvidia got, they just released with the 5000 series or something like that, 5090, or I don't know what it is called, and I guess
the 5000 series.
Yeah, and then we have the Intel Arc is kind of a thing now, and then you have
Arc.
I guess there's new AMD stuff. I haven't really heard much buzzing about AMD lately. They doing all right?
Yeah, the 67 XT and stuff.
I think they're about to release the 8000 series pretty soon here, if I remember correctly.
So I just want
they're doing pretty good in terms of like as far as power, they're all pretty close to each other, except for the Intel Arcs are not really trying to be the powerful stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to be functional.
Yeah, well, they're trying to be like entry level.
Yeah,
but I don't think the Intel. I think the entire goal of those GPUs is a completely different thing.
Yeah,
from
it's
what
not
NVIDIA and
gaming;
AMD
it's
is
more
doing
professional.
now. Yeah,
I think they're just
machine
doing
learning and stuff.
Yeah, my brother has a whole Intel system, and he has one of those. I don't know what model it is, but he has one of the Intel cards in it, and he says he ran his benchmarks, and he ran pretty much anything that he has the AMD systems, a full AMD system with the AMD card. He has the Intel system, and then he has the a system with Nvidia in it, and he's testing them all on similar platforms, so to speak. And they've all run. He's got I think his card. I think it's a 3090 that he's an older 3000 series card. I think that he has that he was testing it on, but. He says the Intel one does really, really well as far as gaming goes. He was playing,
I also think it's worth noting that, like, when you say the Intel's is the most powerful, it's not like trying to compete with that, and I think that's true. I also think like 99% of people have no need for that super power anyway. So like the Intel Arc is probably just as good for people who want to do gaming and streaming.
I'm running I do some gaming, I do Throne of Liberty, World of Warcraft, New World, yada yada yada, and I'm running a 1080 still, and it works beautiful for my gaming needs.
But I think most GPUs, like mid-range will handle the gaming that I'm throwing at it, but I tend to go with AMD just because of the compatibility with Linux. This machine back here behind me's got an
Hey, Dolphin.
Nvidia chip in it, and it hates KDE Plasma. It just screen tearing, jitteriness. It's just jank. But this I have an XFX Radeon 570, and this one with a little bit of an overclock on it, and it's butter on KDE Plasma. So I just tend to go in that direction.
Huh. Gotcha.
I feel like
trying-
most these days, any
Go ahead.
GPUs, like any GPU is good for Linux these days.
Well, that Nvidia card is weird. It just doesn't like the Plasma desktop. But I could put like a Cinnamon on it, and it's fine. I don't know.
I guess it depends on what Nvidia it is, because like I'm talking about like the not current gen, but like recent 5 years or so.
Yeah, well, it's not a high-end card because that's an old repurposed Office PC. It's one of them slim things. So it's one of those,
Is
it's
it
like
integrated graphics or does it have a separate graphics card?
No, it's a dedicated graphics card, but it's one of the slim cards, so it doesn't have that much power to it.
Okay, yeah. So that could be, yeah.
It's what I would call an OEM replacement card. That's kind of
Right.
what I would refer to it as. It's not
yeah,
high
it's
end, but it's
probably like like a 4 gig card or something.
it's small. But that's been repurposed as a media center. I just needed the card to get it into the TV to do the media center thing. It didn't really. I mean, it'll run Super Touch card all day long. So
That's a benchmark right there.
Oh yeah.
That should be like the standard. It used to be Crisis, now it should be
Quake. Quake is the standard.
Oh, is Quake the standard?
Can it play Crisis?
Yeah.
I think the standard should be Doom, so that way a
Always
toaster can be
Doom.
counted
Yeah.
as a standard.
Always Doom.
I think at this point,
But
the toaster can
the
run it.
exactly, I think that most GPUs these days, the whole AMD versus Nvidia thing, depending on what kind of Nvidia, if it's like a relatively recent, so like at least a 20 series for sure, like a 20 series or even like the 10 series, I feel like is probably fine in saying compatibility wise, and the new drivers are typically fine with that. But like the 10 series is like the lowest. Technically a 960 will work with the latest, but it's not. It's on its last legs in that sense. But the Nvidia drivers have been like they've been so much better based on testing and benchmarking that I've looked in. I'm not done myself because I only have AMD, but it's something that when people used to say like, what do you use? It was for 10 years ago, it was Nvidia only because AMD was atrocious. This was like the ATI era before Lisa Su joined. And then it became AMD. And now Nvidia has kind of picked back up. So it's like, pick whichever one you want. It's pretty much fine. And I think that's a wonderful state to be in.
Well, I think most modern hardware is fine for most people, but you have to look for bottlenecks in the hardware. It's no longer about just the CPU or just the GPU, and there's going to be bottlenecks if you don't pair parts correctly with each other. And it also depends on what you're doing with the computer. Like my favorite game is BeamMG. It's a sandbox driving simulator with all kinds of real world crash physics, and you can make mods in Blender and all this stuff, but it's very graphical, but it also leans heavy on the CPU because it uses JBeam type stuff, and it really leans on the CPU for that. And if you don't have everything kind of like when I push the overclock on this one, I don't have enough VRMs. It just won't keep up with the voltage, so it's just you got to pair them well. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
I heard something about pairing.
Anybody trying to VR stuff with their hardware on Linux?
No. But you did pose an interesting question in the Zoom chat. I thought you were gonna say something about that.
Yeah, I can go there real quick. Like I love Wayland and hearing about all the great stuff with Wayland coming along. I noticed that when I screenshot with Ksnip, and I still get some issues. I used it on 24.10. Ubuntu or Lubuntu, and was curious when it comes to screenshot tools. Have you guys having issues on that, or are you guys on the latest and greatest? Like that helps.
I
Me
haven't
personally,
noticed anything.
no, I use Spectacle on Plasma, and
Yeah.
for video recording or taking pictures of screen grabs and being able to actually do a quick edit on it and send it out. It's actually been really great. So I say that the default
Spectacle can do text and arrows.
Yep, Spectacle, and I do like boxes.
Yes.
It's
Real quick, so a lot of people don't know this. Spectacles had this feature for a very long time, as in years, where people use other tools like FlameShot and K-Snip, which, by the way, K-Snip is not made by KDE, and the K has nothing to do with that. Random tidbit. But Spectacle has a thing when you do the screenshot, it doesn't like activate, hey, do these changes like the other ones do. It has a little button that says annotate image. And when you click that, then it opens up the editor and it has all the stuff that you're expecting.
I guess I'd give that a try, maybe.
And on Wayland, I would assume it's probably the best because it's a built-in platform thing.
Yeah, that's the sad part with this stuff with Wayland and products.
Yeah, I haven't really
I think
done a whole lot
Wayland's
of
great, but
screenshotting
also...
on Linux.
Yeah, I like Wayland, but Wayland isn't the problem. Some of the applications around it need to be worked on to be a little more optimized, but yeah, it'll get there.
Well, to say something positive about Discord, I heard that Discord did do an enhancement with Wayland and like streaming and video streaming and something live. And
so they've always had streaming, but they had an issue where you couldn't hear audio. So if you're streaming a game, it wouldn't play the audio.
There you go.
And that was the case for Wayland, and they sort of fixed it. It's still not fixed. It's so it's fixed for people who are using like an app image or a traditional package like the dev or RPM or whatever. It's not fixed for people who use the Flatpak. That's still an issue that they get through the portal system. So, and it also is an issue between Pulse Audio and Pipewire. So if the application is built with Pipewire in mind, it's not working yet still. If it's built with Pulse Audio and Pipewire is doing like the translation stuff, it'll work. So it's kind of like a weird situation where they're like 85% fixed it.
And it was the entire motivation for the development of the Vesktop client. So if you using that third-party client is a terms of service violation for Discord, but it does correct all of those problems on Linux.
You would ask them why they don't just go ahead and look at that code and fix it. But
careful,
well,
too much logic now.
If you run Discord in a browser, I don't think it has
I
don't think it has the same problems if you just run Discord in the browser, which that's basically what the Electron thing is anyway. So they could just port the code.
Yeah.
They just don't want to.
Well, cool. We actually have to move on. Let's start to do like a hard segue here, but it's getting kind of late, and we have to talk about next week, which is a distro exploration. So, is there anything out there that someone's really excited about? That's new. Yeah, distro-wise. If not, I have one that I kind of have had on my list now for a little while that I'd like to do, and it's something that's a little bit obscure. So I don't know if anyone's going to hear.
What's that?
TinyCore. Has anybody played with TinyCore Linux?
Yes, and unless you want to have pain, it's not one of those.
I was going to attest to Michael on that one.
Yeah, I played
super
with
impressive what you can run it on, but
yeah, it's
so lightweight that it is painful.
It's painful.
Like,
yeah.
So when you do TinyCore is built for people who want to have like appliance stuff. So you have like the lowest you could possibly have base, and then you build on top of it for what you need it to be going. And if you want to do like the entire full desktop with it, you're not going to save much. Like if you're going to put Plasma in it, you're still going to get Plasma. If you're going to put system D in it and all that stuff, you're still going to have all those things. So you're just kind of, it's more of like if you want to build something from like the absolute lowest base you can start with and then build on top with it without going the Slacker route or the Gen 2 route, then you can use County Core for that. But it's not like most people would not want to do that. And I did it one time and realized I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
It's
has anybody
nothing
used
but it's
Rhino?
Rolling Rhino?
I looked at it and it lasted all of 10 minutes.
I think we did it last year, I believe.
Okay.
I had problems because it's supposed to be rolling using Ubuntu, and I just when it got to there were certain things that the requirements and dependencies would not work properly. Just because it's not a rolling release, and so you're trying to like kind of make it into one just by
it's
using the
kinda-
dev channel.
It's using the development branch.
I recently watched a
of
video by
Ubuntu.
DistroTube on it, and it looked pretty good.
How old was it though? Because it could have
2
been like
weeks.
one of the 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
I mean,
He
the
did,
point
he
is,
did a
like,
video on it
it's-
2 weeks ago.
There's a brand new version.
I
recently.
think the problem with Rhino Linux is they're just trying to do too much. It's just too much. They need to keep it simple. I mean, they have their own, like, they've made XFCE look like GNOME for some reason. It's like, why? Just and
well, there is a valid reason for that, in my opinion.
well, it's probably the stability because XFCE doesn't roll as much as GNOME does.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael,
it's
you don't like
easier to
Ubuntu?
do.
But it's
no. I'm saying
they
like the reason is so they don't have to keep updating the packages all the time. They're like, we're gonna roll most of it, but we're gonna use the desktop that is the easiest because it doesn't move like once every 2 years. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you're going to use XFCE, why try to make it look like GNOME? Just be
Well,
XFCE.
because
Because then it
XFCE
looks like
default
Ubuntu.
is the default XFCE is hideous.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess,
but the default looks like something from Windows 95, if not worse.
That's correct. Yeah.
Pretty weak.
But Rhino Linux has its own package manager, which it kind of it's sort of like a mixture of Nala and some other stuff. It's just I just find it unnecessary to do those things.
Yeah.
Is it still like that since it's got a new? Is this new?
Well, you could also, if you were an Ubuntu Debian user or a Fedora user, you could also say that Arch Linux is unnecessary. So, like, you know, what?
No, I think
Except that
the
it's
quality
architected
of
to
the
work
rolling.
way.
The quality
Arch
of
is
the rolling.
architected to be a rolling release. Ubuntu.
No,
is
I'm
not.
saying that people do things that you wouldn't necessarily think are necessary to do because they want to see if they can, and you know, test it all out.
Yeah, Rhino was a good example of that.
But,
My last time I tried it, it was like I had issues with updating. There was something broke with updating, and then when I go get to help on like their channels that they put on their website, it was abandoned. And I had to take like 2 posts on their forums to like, hey, if you're not gonna like monitor your own like forums or your own chat rooms, one of them being Matrix, and like every 3rd post was like a drug reference and how to score some good stuff. I was like, you should probably just call it off the website and just take it down. And
to be fair, managing forums and that stuff at that point, it's gotten to the point where these spam things have gotten so. Like the Tux Digital forum is being inundated by spam, and I go in there every couple of days and just clean it out. But and I've done so many different things to block them, and they're so good at getting past this stuff. It's very annoying. But it seems like Rhino's not on the list right now. So what about either have y'all done Bazite or Cachy?
No, I don't think we've
no.
done Bazite or Cachy.
I'd second Cachy.
Yeah, I haven't tried Cachy yet.
Well, that sounds interesting already.
It's been on my radar for a little while, but
it's
I just
immutable.
haven't gotten to it yet.
I'm just sad because we haven't done freaking Storm Jaro yet.
Isn't CachyOS Arch?
Cachy is Arch, yes.
Because I found it interesting because you were just talking bad about Arch, and they're saying we should do Arch.
No, I wasn't talking about Arch. I was saying that if you're saying that somebody's doing something that you find unnecessary, they shouldn't do it. I'm saying that people would say the same thing about Arch. It's unnecessary.
Okay.
I'd say the same
wasn't
thing about
saying-
Tumbleweed, but that's just me.
Ooh,
Cat,
shots fired.
CachyOS. wait.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's
what
right.
I'm saying
Shots
is
fired.
that I'm
Shots
not.
fired.
Those were shots
I
fired.
remember.
Yes, I'm saying I was shooting no shots at any point.
But no, okay, so you say CachyOS.
Cachy.
I did watch a video on that as well from DistroTube. So yeah, well, seems cool.
My vote is going to be for any atomic immutable distro. I don't care which one you guys want.
Bazite is for sure one of those. I think Cachy is immutable.
Yeah, you can do Bluefin. You can do anything that's based on Fedora Silverblue, basically. They're all gonna
Bazite
work
is a
the same.
gaming one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bluefin is more like a developer kind of, it's the same technology. It's just aimed at a different group. That's all.
Bluefin
It's
has
all
so much
packaged
stuff
different.
there. It seemed noisy to me. As much as I
You know,
liked it and
something
enjoyed it, it was just too
different
much.
would be
The
what
only
I
reason
would.
The only reason I suggest an atomic / immutable distros, I just want to see what people's opinions are on can they actually use it the way it is, because I think the technology holds great promise, but I have not been able to successfully use it without some serious gripes. And I'm curious to see if other people are just like, yeah, it's fine. I don't have any issues at all.
It's definitely a different take on immutability compared to what we did with Aeon 2 weeks ago. So it should be interesting to see, like, compare one immutable versus another. That'd be kind of interesting.
Well, I haven't attempted to run an immutable system at any real capacity, so might be interesting.
So just real quick, this is just being the nerdy actually person, and I apologize for this in advance. But none of these distros are immutable. There's not really any of those. Those don't really exist.
Oh my gosh, Michael Tanel. It's
I'm
not
letting-
really called
I-
Linux. It's really good news.
No. I'm saying is that the difference is that atomic means a different thing than an immutable. And
Yes.
SteamOS is immutable because you can't change it, and it will revert it will
and no one
update itself and
literally
block it.
Xerox things, but we all get what we mean.
There used to be this YouTube
That's
channel.
not true.
They used to
People
define
do
things.
If they have Xerox products. What are you talking about?
There used to be this Linux channel. They used to define things and then say the correct way to say things, but they stopped doing that.
Yeah, he stopped doing that
I
because he
remember
got
that.
yelled at a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess
Especially
then
when
what?
they got the GNOME.
The GNOME gnome. Yep.
Yeah, GNOME. I think is the right way to say it. So do we have
is
some
it Cachy or Bazite? Which one are y'all going with?
Zite.
So
We do Bazite.
Cachy.
I actually don't know.
You're
if
saying
that's better.
Bazite or Bazite because it's
I don't know,
KDE, and I would say
both-
Bluefin because
Isn't
it's
both
GNOME.
of
Yeah, both
isn't
KDE, yeah.
Cachy
Cachy's also-
like,
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's because I'm reading through the Distro Watch, which is the gospel truth for all things distributions. I don't see anything.
So
don't
as
see
far
anything
as
that
I
says
know,
immutable on there.
Cachy uses Arch, right?
Yeah.
So Bazite
Yes.
uses like the old version of Fedora. I don't think they've updated to the latest version, right? Is that correct?
No, they use the latest. They use they're based on they use the backups. It's not based on Silverblue, but it has a lot of the same stuff that Silverblue does. And they're not like SteamOS updates once every couple years. That in terms of like the actual core, but Bazite updates quite a bit. I'm pretty sure they're on the
Because
41.
last time I checked, they were on version 40, I think.
They might be.
Cachy says at the top of their download page, desktop edition comes with KDE Plasma, but then there's a banner at the top that says select your preferred edition with a range of desktop environments. Plasma, GNOME, XFC, i3, Wayfire.
Maybe they do like an
RSQ.
Endeavor style thing.
Yeah, they must. So
Like a
Cachy's
handheld
going to be
edition.
more flexible.
So
And-
thumbs up on the screen if you want to do Bazite, and then do a high five if you want to do Cachy.
Why are you being
Do
offensive
one.
to the people who don't have their video on? That is rude.
Ooh, oh yeah. No video, no vote.
What?
No video, no vote.
Those hiding behind lack of camera?
Oh yeah, you gotta
I'm
do like a
somewhat-
thumbs up emoji on the chat then.
Well, I'm good with.
I'm somewhat partial to
Oh, there you
Arch,
go.
so I'm kind of.
We can do thumbs up and raise hand as two options, and you can do that without
Where are they?
The
a
thumbs
screen.
up for Bazite. 3, 2, 1, or high
I
five.
don't even
for
know how to do
Where
the.
are those?
I don't even know how to do
the
that.
reactions on the bottom. React.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at that.
Definitely Bazite all the way.
It looks like
what
Bazite
is
won.
it?
I'm gonna
Cassie's
wave.
which one?
3, 2, 1, go. Thumbs
I
up
use a
again.
wave
Cassie's
thing.
which one?
1. I see 2, 3.
So what
Cassie is which one?
which one's which?
Oh yeah,
Cat-
thumbs up Bazite.
And
Thumbs up
the
Bazite.
wave hand thing is Cashy.
Cashy.
Oh, I'm so confused.
Thumbs, Bazite, hand,
Alright.
Cashy. 3,
How
2,
do I
1.
vote for Tumbleweed?
How do I turn off my hand?
It's the same button. You lower the-
Okay.
So we
Wait,
got
did
so
we
far 3-3. Looks like Cashy's winning.
I'm just very
I-
upset with
I-
everybody right now because no one said doggone Storm Jaro.
No
Because it
one's
has
seen
the
yet.
Jaro part, probably.
And also,
Oh,
you might need
What's
some
the
more time to
problem? I
bake.
mean, guys, I've worked on this thing for like weeks and no one's mentioned it once. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's
Linux
based on
Saloon.
Manjaro, but a lot of people don't have interest
right.
in Manjaro, right?
So one.
Well,
all right. So I got,
I tried
Plus,
Manjaro
we did do
XFCE
Storm
earlier,
recently.
and I breathed on it and it broke. So
so I see 3 hands, and then I didn't see any thumbs ups.
Should be 4 hands.
It has to be the same time.
4 hands.
'cause
I'm sorry.
I think it fades.
Oh,
but
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
put
think
mine up.
I think you should just start just make up a YouTube poll or something and just.
I think Cashy won.
All right. Let's just do Cashy then.
Yeah.
Yep. Good. Good.
Cashy it is.
Lower hand. Yay!
The hands
Hooray.
have it.
All right.
I think it was catchier.
Yeah, that's what Jinda wanted, so that's what we did.
Whatever Jinder
Yeah.
wants.
we know Jinda is really pulling the strings.
I would just like to point out
He's
that I'm a very
he's the
neutral
silent one, so he gets his way.
He's the Dark Lord sitting in his chair.
He's Jar Jar. He's Jar Jar Dark Lord.
Just
He does look like
looming
he's
over
on.
everything.
It
Darth
does
Jar
look
Jar.
like you're on a throne and you have the light behind you with this ominous.
And he just pulls out the guitar and just does a a riff.
No, I can't play the damn thing at all.
So no one's really tried CachyOS, right?
Nope.
No, actually, I haven't.
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna rewatch the because I watched it a while ago, about a month ago or something like that. The
No,
Distro
I've
2
never
video.
checked it out before. I've just
I mean,
heard
Watch it again.
But you're going to be tainted with your opinion by having someone else's opinion
No,
before you.
no.
Yep.
I've already
Mhm.
watched it. I'm gonna rewatch it, so it's no taints.
the only thing I know about it is over on the Matrix server, people just talk about it all the time. Other than that, I know nothing.
Yeah.
It's very popular at this point. Like, there's a lot of I've covered it a couple times in Twill, and there's been a lot of comments of people using it.
Yeah.
I just
From
know.
what I
I ju-
understand, it rolls its own kernel, which has a lot of optimizations, especially for gaming.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah.
I think they have
A handheld edition.
I think they start with the Liquorix kernel and then modify it. I think that's what they do.
Oh,
I could be wrong about that though.
Talking about
It could be
Cashy?
a different distro. I'm thinking about Cashy, but it might be a different distro I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So there's some. Apparently they do the bore scheduler for the advanced bore scheduler for unparalleled performance. Or something along those
Oh, we
lines.
can have a discussion on schedulers next week. Yes.
Ooh, schedulers. All right. Well, I'm not.
Consistency.
Waters.
How the kernel manages scheduling things and whatnot.
Oh,
That's
that
fascinating.
yeah.
Wow.
So, well, good deal. All right. Well,
I mean, real time is pretty cool.
I think Ben was going to do a free pour, but apparently he got angry that we didn't bring up Manjaro or Storm Jaro. So, I guess we'll move on to the last call.
Yeah, he left. So
yeah, he left. He rage quit because he didn't talk about it. But that's all right. We still
Hold
have
up,
Ben.
he really left?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
really left.
I thought he was joking.
He's
No, he
in
wasn't
YouTube
joking.
chat, but he left the Zoom.
I mean, but a lot of people aren't really interested in Manjaro because they don't really do anything special for the past years. So like basing it on Manjaro, I don't see. That's it. Is.
The
Well,
cat's
I mean,
something
I
special.
tried. I installed Manjaro earlier today because I was bored and it broke in like an hour. So
yeah, I have Manjaro on the laptop and it works fine. is there just like mess around with Pac-Man and whatever.
Well, I just mean in like the last few times they've made releases, it's always been like just an update to the DE and nothing else. It's like, well, I mean, that's just
well, what
any
Ben's trying
distro.
to do is I had a Manjaro spin like 5-6 years ago that was relatively popular, at least in our little group. And what Ben did was just kind of resurrect sort of what we had. And I think there's a little bit of nostalgia attached to it. I think that's what it is. But I don't care much about Manjaro these days, to tell you the truth. I mean, if I'm going to use Arch, I'm just going to use Arch. You know, it's just whatever.
No, that's not true. You're now going to use Cachy. Boom.
Yeah, well,
All right,
that's true.
Well,
But,
let's go
but
ahead and-
generally speaking,
well, last call because I'm out of time. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Like Michael, you got a couple podcasts you're part of.
I have
What else?
a few, yes. Destination Linux is a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This Week in Linux is a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I do This Week in Linux live now every Friday at 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, and for other time zones, I don't know. And
I'm impressed by the
time zone-
turnaround. Like the turnaround
Oh
between.
yeah, I released it this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it requires of editing about 3 hours or so. So as soon as I'm done with the show, I start editing. So, and then I got done last night around, I think 11 p.m., 11:30, something like that.
Wow. That's dedication.
Yeah,
I was asleep by then.
I care about things. I'm not sure what yet, but I care. And so This Week in Linux is every Friday for the stream, every Saturday for the release, and I've also been starting to do more videos. And
I've noticed.
So far it's been fun. Also stressful.
and this week we
No,
learned about
3 hours of the editing process minimum.
and this week
3
we learned
hours?
about eyeball tricks. That was fun.
Yeah, during the live stream, someone mentioned something about my eyes, and I was like, I have eye tricks, by the way. And I did some eye tricks. But you can't see those because the stream is no longer visible. Show up live, people.
So, also, I guess you have a guest host on the next.
Oh yeah,
Destination Linux?
so Destination Linux, I'm actually editing this week as well. Unfortunately, Wendy is not able to do it, so I'm forced to do it, which means it'll be very lazy. Second is that the next episode of Destination Linux comes out Monday, and we talk about OpenSUSE. We talk about OpenAI having some change of heart a little bit, and other things. And as I'm purposefully bearing the lead, we're being joined by Cubicle Nate as the guest host.
Oh shoot!
For the Destination Linux episode 406.
I'm excited. It was fun. I enjoyed doing it. So
I
was
came
awesome.
back just for you, Nate.
Right.
Sorry about
Thank
that.
you. So and Ryan, he should leave more often so I can join again. Oh.
He actually might be in a couple of weeks or so for more work stuff, so we'll see. He told me it might be happening again.
And I'm going to say this, Nate. I'm okay with us doing Cachy if that helps you.
Oh, good. I'm grateful.
Yes, and I'll give a quick rundown of what I've been doing with Storm Gen Z for you real quick. So
real quick.
essentially, I'll try and make it short. So what it is it's Gen 2 based, as I said in the beginning, but it comes with XFCE pre-configured, tricked out, whatever. And I went as far as to including Calamari's pre-configured, and it's OpenRC. It's not systemd, folks, but here's the kicker. I went on DeepSeek and I made from scratch a GUI package manager for the front end to Portage, and it does work. I have tested it and on my system here, which I built it from, and it syncs, it updates, and it emerges packages all for you. So you don't have to do none of that stuff. All you do is you type in your credentials, bam, All you got to do is install your packages that you want on top of it. Calaboom. It's a very easy GUI front end to emerge. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Well, sweet.
I think the slogan should be Calaboom.
It's basically an easy version of Gentoo. Think about it with XFCE, and this has not been done in the past except for by Calculate, which you know, it's a bit more minimal, but mine is, you know, so it's a competitor to Redcore and Calculate. Think about it that
And
way.
Savion.
Yeah, I was gonna say Savion did something like that.
And
earlier.
Savion sadly died off, and you know, I'm sort of continuing what they had, so to speak.
Why are you calling it Storm Jaro then if it doesn't have Manjaro?
No, it's not Storm Jaro, Michael. This is Gen Z. It's a third option kind of thing.
Oh, I see. So is it busted?
So it's an
is
easy version of Gentoo to think about.
Is it cracked and bussin'?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Is
Gen Z.
Is it Sigma?
No. It's just a name that you know Seeker came up with, so to speak.
Well, I'm over here on Boomer OS. So
Oh God, Matt. But yeah, it's not a Gen Z distro. It's just the name of the project that Seeker came up with. You know, it was the first thing that popped into his head when we were thinking up names, and you know, that's just the name that we settled on. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, but yeah, this is our third and final edition, and you know, we this is where you know where we're at, and hopefully, unlike Storm Jaro, we can get a look at this very soon. So yeah, because I think Michael's right. You know, Manjaro base might be a little too niche for the show, but or for most things, but you know.
Also remember,
I think a Gentoo version might yield more merit. You know.
Remember also, there's other outlets to showcase things, and you know.
No, I know. Well, you know, it's all good. But yeah, I'll work with Nate on getting this one on hopefully soon, and that sort of thing.
We'll make sure it's nicely baked out. We don't want any.
Oh, sure. Well,
we don't want to cut in any raw
Heather
turkey.
and I'm gonna ask Heather because she's expressed an interest in it as usual, and hopefully this one doesn't fall to bits like the Manjaro version did. But yeah, because I even ran the Manjaro version for a good number of weeks, and it just kept crashing, and it had a lot of challenges and that sort of thing.
So it was being Manjaro then.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Manjaro.
We want to
being
close this out.
Manjaro,
So
but-
Yeah,
thank you, Ben.
Let us know when it's baked, and especially if it has chocolate chip cookies.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know, Eric, did you
I've
have
been running
anything?
it for the past couple weeks,
Yep.
but I'll come back in
okay.
a few weeks with another update.
All right, great. We're out of time. I want to go to bed.
Sorry, Nate.
Anybody else have anything else? Dale or nope?
Yeah,
Matthew.
I think we're good.
Mr. Matthew Moore.
Nah, I ain't got nothing.
No? All right. And
Yeah.
Jason, tomorrow probably Days Vintage Apple Tech for you.
Well, no, tomorrow I'll be out doing the Magic the Gathering nerding.
Oh, okay. Well,
No,
as long as
nice.
like getting out into the sunshine, that's dangerous stuff right there.
No, not really. I walk to the car, drive to the shop, and walk from the car to the shop, and be inside for 7 hours.
Oh,
So,
okay.
There
not
an
really.
app for that?
Make sure you wear your sunglasses.
Whoa! Be careful with that walking.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Hey, now I walk 2 miles a day. Mind
There
you.
could be animals out there that might try and eat you, especially in
Exactly.
Florida.
Kangaroos.
No, he lives in
Kangaroos are in
Florida, so it's got like alligators. I've seen
I
seen these
mean,
alligators.
I mean, you just gotta think positive.
Florida
There might
man
be
might
kangaroos.
Florida man might try to come and get me.
That's true.
That's true.
All right, I have a website
Yeah.
called kugelnate.com. I write articles. Check it out, maybe. All right, Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support, however you do it, being a part of the conversation here in the Zoom meeting or the YouTube chat, or if you watch the show after the fact and leave a comment. Thank you for that, too. I want to thank everyone involved in making the Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time.
Peace out, folks.
Thanks for watching.
See yous.